the Money Desk now with Devin Murrigan. Good evening, Devin. We're talking restaurants and the issue of restaurants not doing what they should to monitor their clientele. Tell me more about that.
Yes, indeed. Non-compliance with the lockdown rules, and it's the last thing this industry needs. I need not tell you. Tourism Minister Mmamo-loko Kubayi-Ngubane issuing a stern warning to restaurants. She says that she's aware that some are not complying with curfew and social distancing regulations. Her department has received numerous complaints from patrons and employees. Kubayi-Ngubane warns that business licenses are at risk of being revoked. The rules for restaurants under level 2 of the lockdown, by the way, are largely the same as level 3, except for the reintroduction of alcohol sales for on-site consumption before 10 p.m. Here's the Tourism Department's Lingiwe Tlabati Mokota.
We don't want to find a situation where law enforcement authorities come into restaurants, arrest managers, and we don't want to find ourselves in situations where, in fact, liquor licenses or trading licenses, in fact, are revoked. And so we really appeal to our sector to say, even the patrons themselves, as they come into these establishments, they support the sector. We appreciate it, but please, if they can also assist us in ensuring that we don't break any of the rules.
All right, I want to bring in Wendy Alberts now, who heads up the Restaurant Association of South Africa. Wendy, thanks very much indeed for talking to us. You've been appealing to restaurants to abide by the rules, and this was even before we had the easing of regulations that happened earlier this month. How many of these restaurants under your banner now are going rogue here, you think?
It's been very challenging times, as you well understand. Many of our sit-down restaurants have been open for weeks on end, so they've certainly had an opportunity to massage themselves into the protocols and understanding their role and responsibility. It's a very new space for pubs and bars. They've just reopened. It's literally their second weekend. It's also been month end. They are dealing with the complexities of the consumer. We've been dealing with a lot of hostile patrons that have come into restaurants simply and blatantly refusing to fill out registers or take their temperatures. So we need to appeal to the patrons that enter our establishments to work with us through the stages of COVID, that we get to stage 1 quickly and efficiently. And we can't do this unless there's complete compliance from both the public as well as the restaurant operator as well as the supplier. So we're urging everybody to please adhere to the protocols, to be respectful of the restaurant staff, and to be respectful of the protocols. They're not our protocols. They haven't been set by the restaurant industry. They come from the minister and from the NCC, and unless we comply with it, we will face very difficult, challenging times ahead.
So, Wendy, I understand what you're saying about compliance as far as the patrons or the clientele is concerned, but it appears to me that the tourism department, you're concerned about restaurants actually not following some of those curfew rules and social distancing rules. They're throwing the ball in the court of the restaurants. How do you react to that?
So we've asked for the data that we can consult with the various restaurants that they feel that have not been supporting the protocols. What we have done is we have certainly received the complaints on the pubs and bars that have extended over the curfew. But we can also lend itself to very difficult complications where a lot of bars and pubs calling us where at 10 o'clock they could not get patrons out of the establishment, so we're not sure what their next leveraging would be to close their doors, etc., to get people to pay their bills and for people to finish their last round and to vacate the premises. So there has been sufficient challenges. There was also a breakout on social media indicating that the level 2 restrictions no longer apply to bars and pubs as well as restaurants. So we were encountered with a lot of hostility from the public this weekend.
Well, I see some warnings this afternoon coming from the department in that letter sent out to restaurants that they could face the prospect of their licenses being revoked. What's your sense on that?
One of the things that we've spoken at hand with the minister when she called me on Monday to reiterate the importance of adherence to protocols, we immediately mobilized our membership base and we got in touch with all the restaurants. We said, please, we're appealing to you not to have any retraction of what our privileges are at this stage. But again, the Minister of Tourism is there to work with us. We're there to build functional relationships. We're there to look for solutions. We need to understand what is the complication within the area of the pubs and bars as to why there is a lack of compliance specifically in that sector. what we have done through the research that we've run over the last couple of days is that the compliance within sit-down family-oriented restaurants is pretty high. The adherence to protocols in those spaces are well supported. So we need to just do a little bit more work with the pubs and bars, and we need to get them trained, and we need to get the protocols, and we need to get communication out. We do have public campaigns going out with SA Breweries, Outsurance, and Food Guru to talk to it. We're also looking at a rating system where you can rate a particular restaurant or establishment out of 5 on protocol, so you'll know it will be a public rating if that establishment is a 4.1 or a 4.9 or a 4.7 or a 2, and that will also be available for patrons to make an informed decision if they want to go into a place that's non-compliant.
And Wendy, very quickly before I let you go, of course, looking at forward-looking on this particular industry, monitoring non-compliance is also a very important aspect of this, but I suppose a challenging one, isn't it?
Absolutely. We have to work together. Government and private sector have to work together. We have to look at solutions. We have to find mechanisms that bring compliance. We have to enable communication structures where people understand the importance of it. And that goes both to the pub owner and the bar owner, as well as the public that are supporting our establishments. But whilst we've seen lovely support, and we are still South Africa's most loved industry, in order for us to move to level 1 and get through to normality as what we know and what we are eager to do as South Africans, we're just appealing to the public to work with us through the stages. It's frustrating for the public as what it is for restaurant and bar owners, but unfortunately that is the law and we need to be supportive of it.
Well, thanks very much indeed. Wendy Alberts from the Restaurant Association of South Africa.